What is up, YouTube pimps? We are going to talk about semi-automatic and pump shotguns in Shit Hit the Fan. The differences between the two, and like kind of the strengths and weaknesses of the two. It's not really a versus video. I don't think that we really need to be talking about it in that context. I think we can talk about both operating systems basically, because one is manually operated and the other one is, semi-automatic, and there's a variety of ways in which semi-automatics operate. But we're just going to kind of break them into those two groups. If you've got a lever action, like one of the Turkish Black Aces tactical lever actions, or like a Henry and 410 or something like that, that's going to fall into the manually operated category. Why am I doing this video? Well, I got a shit ton of comments on my shotguns and Shit Hit the Fan video. And they were about pump shotguns and semi-automatics. Some people disagreed with me in the video where I said that semi-automatics based on like a specific mindset kind of and situation, we're going to be superior. My fucking rooster won't shut up. I swear I'm going to shoot him one of these days with a shotgun. All right, let's get back on track. I'm doing the video because there's a lot of interest in the differences between the two. And so let's talk about it. And I will tell you guys that I'm experienced in shotgunning. I've been hunting all kinds of game with shotguns, everything from like tiny stuff all the way up to deer, waterfowl, upland bird, all that kind of stuff. I've put a lot of meat on the table with shotguns. And I would never disagree with anyone that told me that a shotgun is like the best game getter ever. Especially like right now, the times in which we live right now. It's the best, man. Even if shit were to change and the shit hits the fan, man, a shotgun is still going to just put so much meat on the table. But the issue there is the report of shotguns. 12 gauge, 20 gauge. That's generally what people are using, and they're not quiet, pimps. So where do they really fit in Shit Hit the Fan? This channel is all about the 80-20 rule. 20% of what we do produces 80% of the results. Well, where are shotguns going to be the 20% that produces 80% of the results? Because that's what we want to focus on. I'm going to tell you guys where I think they fit in. And the first place is if you are very remote, like me. My nearest neighbor is 3 miles away, and you have to drive down dirt roads the entire way to get there. That's where the asphalt is, 3 miles away. I could go out to a pond out here and bang ducks all day long, and he would have no clue what I'm up to. He's not going to hear them. It's just too far to hear the report. Now, I want you to think about my situation, because if you live in a similar place like I do, you might be thinking, oh, well, shotgun's really going to bag a lot of game for me and Shit Hit the Fan. And it could. But has anyone come within hearing distance of you that you're not aware of? That's what you need to be asking yourself. You might be super remote, but how do you know someone hasn't come within hearing distance of your shotgun? Right now, I'm not in a situation where the neighbor is going to come over here and try to kill me to get the ducks I'm whacking. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to do that. Not that I'm whacking ducks out here. We don't actually hunt on the ranch. It is a game preserve, effectively. But if the SHTF went down and I had ducks come in on the pond, they're going to get pounded. Well, when Shit Hit the Fan happens, now I'm in a situation where, what if someone hears me? What if someone's close that I'm not aware of? And I draw that attention to my location through the report of that shotgun. That's really something you need to think about. I do think that shotguns are never going to be any less effective than they are right now, guys. It's an amazing tool, but they're extremely loud. And to put food on the table with a shotgun, you are regularly hunting with them most of the time. I mean, if you're able to put deer down every once in a while with 1 or 2 shots from a shotgun, I think you're in pretty good shape. I think that's not a bad way to do it. But you got to remember how the game pressure is going to change and Shit Hit the Fan. Okay? So think about it. The second place where I can really see a shotgun earning its keep for somebody in Shit Hit the Fan is somebody in a highly urban or somewhat urban location that is intending on staying put. They're going to castle doctrine it. They've got a lot of food stores. They're just going to try to hide out and not attract attention and hope the golden horde passes them by unnoticed. All right? If that's where you are, a shotgun could just be an amazing tool. They're always an amazing tool. But when it comes to self-defense use or even dealing with packs of wild dogs to get that fresh meat on the table or cats and that kind of stuff, it could definitely be a resource for you, but you still have to keep in mind the report and the attention that it will draw. Not that other guns don't have a report, guys. I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying that in shit hit the fan, we really want to be as effective as we possibly can when it comes to putting food on our table and not attracting the wrong kinds of attention. And so what's the best ways to do that? Well, it's not walking around hunting with a shotgun every single day. It's just not. The best ways to do it are to be farming, to have food stores, to have some livestock, even chickens, man, for the eggs and stuff, to know some local foraging tricks, to use snares is a big one. Any kinds of traps or snares that are going to trap animals and don't have that report going off that might call people from a mile away to your location, those are all going to be a big, big plus for you. All right? You want to be able to rock those. People just won't leave me alone every time I'm doing a video. I get text messages just bing, bing, bing. Like, come on, I'm not that popular, man. Only when I'm doing a video. So you really have to make it worth it with a platform like a shotgun to want to rely on it regularly for sustenance and shit hit the fan. You really got to make it worth it, pimps. I mean, if you end up being one of those lone wolves that's, wading through the ruins of cities trying to survive, I mean, for one, you're just probably not going to last long. But for two, a shotgun probably is going to make a lot of sense. A 12-gauge shotgun. The commonality of the ammunition, it's just prolific. Super, super effective in a self-defense situation. Now, and I'll tell you that most violent encounters with other humans are going to be within yelling range and shit hit the fan. They're not going to be 500 yards out like a lot of guys like to think they will be. And a shotgun is going to do great within yelling range of other human beings. If you have the right kind of ammunition, of course. All right, let's finally get around to the point here and talk about pumps, semi-automatics, and you know what? I'm going to throw in mag-fed shotguns as well, just to throw a freaking curveball on this baby. I had all kinds of comments in my shotguns and shit hit the fan video about pump-fed shotguns versus semi-autos. Oh, pumps are more reliable, efficient in the field. They just are. Semi-automatics can't be relied upon. And then some other dudes are like, my semi-automatic is badass. It's never failed to cycle a single round, And then I had some comments about mag-fed shotguns. Basically, just about everybody was bashing on them. Let's get after it, though. Let's talk about pumps, or I should say manually operated, manually cycled shotguns. One of the big appeals, dudes, is the price. They're just not that expensive. I want to say the last time I looked at another 870 pump, it was going to cost me in the $360 range up to just under $800, depending on how pimped out I wanted it to be, So that's really not that bad. Everybody can afford a $360 pump shotgun. I don't even know if you can buy a handgun for less than that unless it's maybe a High Point and you bought it from a pawn shop. So, pump shotguns for the win when it comes to cost. Another benefit to pumps is that they are manually cycled. What that means is that you're controlling the cycling, right? If you live in a harsh place, freaking ice gets blown all around and will freeze on your gun like it will out here, or it's just dirty as shit, and you might have an issue with a semi-automatic operating if it's got to deal with those harsh realities of your environment, then a manually operated firearm makes a lot of sense. On the flip side, you could find yourself in a defensive situation and shit hit the fan, and you short stroke your pump and it doesn't go bang. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of the pump lovers, which I am myself, to be honest with you guys, they don't think about that. They're like, oh, a pump's always going to go bang. It's not always going to go bang. It's not. If you look at the big manufacturers and the tests they've done on their own pump shotguns, there is a certain percentage of the time where you're just going to have an issue cycling or feeding. And I've had it happen myself, not a lot of times, but it has happened. Now throw in the freaking 200 beats per freaking minute heart rate because some dude is shooting at you and you short stroke your 12 gauge when you really needed it to go bang. So now let me ask you, is your pump shotgun still superior? Is it actually going to go bang every time? It's not, guys. It's really not. So we just need to keep it real. I'm not going to tell you shouldn't have a pump shotgun. I'm not going to tell you that semi-automatics are superior because we're going to get into that and talk about that, and I'm going to rag on them a bit as well, okay? I just want you to be aware. If you're planning on using this as a big-time defensive weapon and shit hit the fan, you better train in those fine motor skills to a point where you are always going to cycle that damn thing right. Semi-automatics, let's talk about those. Pimps, they're expensive as shit, man. I got one I'm eyeballing. I will tell you guys straight up, all the shotguns I own are either pump shotguns or they're break actions because I'm not loaded. I'm broke, man. I have used other people's semi-automatic shotguns here and there, and so I'm a little familiar with them, but I have done a lot of research on a lot of the modern models that are coming out, and dudes, they're not what they used to be. And there's a lot of old school semi-automatic shotguns that are known for reliability as well, guys. This isn't just like a new thing. The big trick, though, is purchasing a semi-automatic shotgun that's known for reliability. Let's throw out some names there. The Beretta A300 Ultima Patrol, the Beretta 1301. Both of those are known for being extremely reliable. The A300 can be had for just under $1,000. Yes, they're pricey. One of the big downsides to semi-automatics. But at the same time, when it comes down to it, you can really put a lot more lead down range really fast. I did have a commenter say that in studies, I'm not sure what studies he's referring to, people with a semi-automatic shotgun are more likely to make rapid, inaccurate shots than somebody with a pump action. Now, I'm not going to doubt that statement. I'm not going to doubt it. I think that there's probably a little bit of truth to that. I actually went hunting with some buddies of mine way back in the day once, where one of them had a Benelli semi-automatic. And we're hunting rabbits in some vineyard, and we're out there, and I always creamed it, man. I always cleaned up. I don't think I ever went home with less than 13 bunnies, but we're out there, and he couldn't get a good shot on one, and I've already got like freaking a half dozen dead at least. And he separated with me, went off with a different dude, and I hear him over there, boom, 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 just dumps his whole tube, and didn't kill anything. Now, here's the thing, though. Was it him? Or was it the fact that he's rocking a semi-automatic shotgun? And I'll tell you guys what. It was him. I truly believe it was him. And there it sits. You give me that semi-automatic, I'm not just going to rip off rounds, man. That shit costs money. Every time I pull the trigger, man, I'm like, there goes a buck. You know what I'm saying? Not for like cheap shit you're going to use to hunt rabbits with, but, any of the good stuff for like upland game or waterfowl and that kind of thing, dudes, it's like about $1 a shot. So no, I'm more interested in making the kill than I am in sounding cool. And I don't think he realized this, but he sounded like a jackass at that moment. And as a matter of fact, one of the people that was letting us hunt on the land came over and gave him a ration of shit, and they were pissed about it. And the buddy that brought us out there, he almost lost his rights to hunt the area because we had an ass clown with us. Needless to say, we didn't take him hunting with us again. Here's the other thing. If you think about defensive shotgun work, do you need to be dead on the money with every load of double-aught buck you let go? I really don't think that you need to. If you've done any research into the spread of double-aught buck out of a freaking cylinder bore, which a lot of these shotguns are going to be, these defensive semi-automatic shotguns, you get a pretty good spread pretty rapidly if you're not using something like flight control. So how accurate do you really need to be? I mean, would you rather dump your whole tube on one target in 2 seconds and, let's say, miss 2 out of 7 shots entirely, or would you rather dump freaking the same amount of rounds in 5 seconds and have all of them hit? Like, let's think about it, dudes. You're just going to put more lead on the target with a semi-automatic, even if you're being a little less accurate. It's not a precision rifle. It's not a handgun. It's not firing one projectile per pull of the trigger. And if you're using a shotgun in a defensive situation to begin with, I think we can all assume that the bad guys are fairly close to you. When it comes to downsides for semi-automatics, even these modern, super reliable ones, we're going to take those and we're going to use those as our example because that's the best way to look at this. Let's say you got a Beretta A300 Ultimate Patrol. It's badass. You've got 1,000 rounds through at the range. It's nice and broken. You end up in shit hit the fan. You end up on the road, dirty, nasty, wet, rainy, all this kind of shit all the time. Is that shotgun going to be less reliable than a manually operated shotgun? It's hard to really know, right? Without putting that shotgun through that exact situation. Like, is that A300 going to have issues cycling in shit hit the fan freaking type conditions? If you want to see that kind of shit, dudes, like, share, subscribe, comment, freaking support the channel on Patreon, do all that shit. The link's in my description, guys, because I will do that stuff. I will put that shit on YouTube. I will get an A300 Patrol. I will break that baby in. I will simulate all kinds of shit hit the fan situations and freaking make it look badass, man. I'll freaking chop that shit up to freaking music and all that kind of stuff. So if you like that kind of stuff, boom, help support the channel. All right. But it's hard for us to really know for sure unless you put your own firearms through that kind of situation. And that's what I like to do. I like to get my shit all dirty, nasty, not freaking clean it, don't lube it, and see how it's going to freaking operate. And I really suggest you do that. I really suggest that you do that with your shit so that you can have confidence in it. But I think for a lot of people, they want a pump shotgun because the perspective is that those modern semi-automatics in those conditions are not going to cycle. Well, we don't really know, do we? We don't really know. And there's I think I've already gone over it. There's a lot of situations where a manually operated shotgun is going to have issues as well. So that's kind of where we're at. To me, at this point in time, it's like, if you want to use a shotgun mostly for hunting to supplement food for your family and shit hit the fan, a pump shotgun is going to be just fine. But if you are going to be relying on it as a defensive tool, I feel that you really want to go with a good quality modern semi-automatic. That's kind of where I'm at. I feel that that's kind of where people should be when it comes to the two. Let's talk about mag-fed shotguns, because I got some comments from people about how mag-fed shotguns aren't reliable. I'm going to tell you that really depends. I don't agree with the people that think that they're all just not reliable. I don't agree with that. And you want to know why? Well, because I was looking at Remington's new mag-fed pump semi-automatic platform. They have both. They have a pump shotgun that's basically like an 870. It's like an 870 DM or something like that. And I did a lot of research on it. I didn't get to actually shoot one myself, so take that into consideration regarding my statements made here. But they said they designed the magazine from the ground up for a shotgun. Like, they didn't take other people's mags and copy those. They designed it specifically for their shotgun. The mag well, all that kind of stuff. They started from the ground up and designed it. And when they did their reliability testing, this mag-fed pump fed more reliably than their tube-fed 870s. So what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that it's not mag-fed shotguns that are the problem. It's which mag-fed shotgun is the problem, which magazine is the problem. That's what it tells us. So you can, realistically speaking, you can have a extremely reliable mag-fed shotgun in shit hit the fan if you so choose. I think we can wrap it right there, pimps. You know, it's kind of like to each their own. I just want to let you guys know that the shotgun, as awesome as it is and shit hit the fan, there's only a small percentage of us that are really going to be able to take advantage of it as that 20% that's going to produce 80% of the results. Now, I think that as shit hit the fan kind of starts to mellows out and the numbers of people dwindle and the survivors decide that they're better off treating each other with civility than violence, I think we're going to get right back to a place in time where the shotgun is going to be the big game getter again. It's going to be that tool that everyone chooses to use to feed their families because it's just awesome for that. I just want to kind of caution you away from being the guy that's got 3,000 rounds of shot shells in the house and is planning on walking around just about every day trying to kill something to put meat on the table and making that loud pew pew noise. You know what I'm saying? I think you really want to try to avoid that. And so that's it, guys. I'm going to leave it right there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let's make it a conversation. What do y'all think about it? Down below. Are you a pump shotgun guy, a semi-auto dude? What are you rocking? Let's hear from you guys with semi-autos. How reliable is your system? How reliable is it? Same thing with you dudes with mag-fed shotguns. How reliable are they? We need to know, man. Dependability. What mags work the best with your platform, all that kind of stuff. And those of you that are rocking pump action shotguns, what's your setup? How many times have you had like a failure to feed or short stroked it and all that kind of stuff? And what are your thoughts on that as a challenge and shit hit the fan? Let's hit it up, dude. Like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, check out my Patreon link in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.